Hola, clase. Hoy vamos a hablar del complemento directo y sus pronombres. Direct object pronouns, direct object nouns, and their pronouns. Okay? And we'll compare their use in English and in Spanish. But first, let me tell you a little bit about a trip to San Juan. Estamos en el viejo San Juan. Hoy hay muchos turistas que están tomando fotos. Las hacen con sus cámaras modernas o sus teléfonos móviles. Here we have an example of a noun, a direct object noun, being replaced by a pronoun to simplify. We have fotos, están tomando fotos, las hacen con sus cámaras modernas, they make them with their modern cameras. Muchos turistas están contentos de estar de vacaciones en San Juan. La ciudad es muy preciosa. Muchos compran regalos para sus familiares y amigos. Los compran en tiendas muy bonitas. Y aquí tenemos una tienda de sombreros típicos de Puerto Rico y otra para turistas con regalos. Again, here we see muchos compran regalos, they buy gifts, para sus familiares y amigos. And here we don't see a repetition of regalos, we just see los compran en tiendas muy bonitas. They buy them in pretty stores. Okay, so when you have a direct object noun, that is something that receives the action of the verb. What does that mean? Let's look at the example sentence. Juan Carlos y Jimena están tomando fotos. Juan Carlos y Jimena are the ones acting. They're the subjects. Están tomando is the verb in the larger sense. They're taking. And the question here is, what are they taking? They're taking pictures. And by asking, what are Juan Carlos and Jimena taking, you're isolating the direct object noun, which is the focus of today's class. Here are a few more examples. Miguel no me habla. Or, no tenemos tablas de windsurf. El botones las puede conseguir para ustedes. Let's look at the first one. Miguel no me habla. Miguel no me habla. So Miguel is the one not talking. And to whom is he not talking? To me. Okay, I'm the direct object of that sentence, that me. Over here in the example, no tenemos tablas de windsurf. Note how in this sentence, tablas de windsurf don't pop up. They're there indirectly. How? El botón es las puede conseguir para ustedes. This is the little pronoun las. That means them, the windsurfing boards. Okay? So the employee can get them for you. So what we're doing essentially is not being repetitive. Just like in English, in Spanish, you don't want to keep on using nouns all the time. Sometimes you use pronouns to be more efficient, right? So, for example, over here, we have Maribel hace las maletas. So Maribel packs her suitcases. And if you wanted to repeat it because somebody didn't hear it, or if you wanted to pick up on that information, you would not keep on saying las maletas. Maribel hace las maletas. Maribel tiene maletas verdes. You don't keep on saying it, right? You're not repeating the noun, you say them. Okay, so how do you say them? Here in this case, you need to look at the gender, las, and the singular plural. In this case, it's plural, right? And the direct object pronoun here would be las, and I'll show you an overview of the pronouns in a second, so just bear with me, okay? So you would say, Maribel makes them, the suitcases. Maribel las hace. Maribel hace las maletas. Maribel las hace. Felipe compra el sombrero. He buys the hat. You would say he buys it by saying Felipe lo compra. Lo replaces el sombrero. Vicky tiene la llave, or to be more efficient, you would say Vicky la tiene. La replaces la llave. Okay, so what would be the English equivalent? Maribel makes them, Felipe buys it, and Vicky has it. See how we're replacing nouns with pronouns? That is the object of today's class. Now, which pronouns do you use? Okay, so here you have, just like you have the subject pronouns, yo, tú, él, nosotros, vosotros, right? You have here, according to a particular order, your pronouns. Me is me, so John is talking to me. Te, you. Lo, him or it. La, her or it. They can also replace people. We'll get to that in a second. Nos is us. Os is you, as in vosotros, right? We're talking to you. Os hablamos. And los is them, or in the masculine or the feminine. Okay? In affirmative sentences, the direct object pronouns generally appear before the conjugated verb, right? So that is where you would place them. So let's look at those first. Adela practica el tenis. Let's say you don't want to keep on repeating el tenis, el tenis, el tenis. You look at it, it's masculine, it's singular. Oops, you replace it with lo. Where do you put the lo? In front of the verb. Adela lo practica. Next example. Carmen compra los pasajes. Carmen buys the tickets. Compra los pasajes. You would say she buys them by saying Carmen los compra. Note how this is masculine plural, right? And in front of the verb. Carmen los compra. Now, what does it look like if you want to say no? So, for instance, Gabriela no tiene las llaves. Gabriela does not have the keys. Well, the pronoun still is in front of the verb, but the no is right in front of it. Gabriela no las tiene. Another example. Diego no hace las maletas. Diego no las hace. To summarize, in order to shorten a sentence, you need to find the direct object. Look, is it masculine or feminine? And then you put it in front of the conjugated verb. Things get slightly more tricky if we have something like the construction ir a, which refers to the future, right? Going to. Here, the direct object can be placed before the conjugated verb as well. So you could say they are going to write postcards. Ellos van a escribir unas postales. Unas turns to los, and you put it right in front of the conjugated verb. Ellos las van a escribir. You can also attach it to the infinitive. The infinitive has, if you want to picture it, it has a bit of a magnet. It attracts little bits and pieces, like pronouns. So you could also say, ellos van a escribirlas. If it's too hard right now for you to wrap your head around, just put it in the front of the conjugated verb, just like we discussed in the previous slide. Okay? Lidia quiere ver una película. Lidia la quiere ver, in front of the conjugated verb, o Lidia quiere verla. The same applies for the progressive form, right? The progressive, much like the infinitive, has a little magnet where you can optionally put it at the end. But the important thing is you don't have to, okay? So, Gerardo está leyendo la lección. Okay, so we replace la lección with la. And again, we put it in front of the conjugated verb. Gerardo la está leyendo. Optionally, Gerardo está leyendo la. Again, If it's, just the basic would be in front of the conjugated verb. Tony está mirando el partido. Tony lo está mirando in front of the conjugated verb, or Tony está mirándolo. You may want to take a pause here, review, replay what I've said, look at the book, and just let it sink in. When a direct object noun in Spanish is a person or a pet, if you remember, it's preceded by the word a, okay? This is called a personal a, and there's really no English equivalent. So you could say, la señora Díaz visita a la doctora Salas. O la señora Díaz visita el Café Delicias. You see, this is not a person. You don't need that personal a. It only pops up if it's a person. So in the first sentence above, the personal a is required because the direct object is a person. In the second, it isn't. Okay? Just be aware of this. All right, I would like you to do this and the following. Well, actually, let's start with the slide. You can find the key either on the VHL website or in the comment section. Actually, what I'll do for you guys here in the narrated form, I'll give you a few minutes. You can pause, right? Take a few minutes to find the direct object pronoun, circle the correct response, and we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, you're back. Perfect. So you have number 1 here, tienes el libro de español, and you have option C as being correct. Lo tienes. Perfect. El libro de español is the direct object. It's replaced by lo. Now what about voy a ver el partido de baloncesto? Where's the direct object? If you look at it, voy a ver, I am watching. Whatever the rest is over here, that right now is the direct object. El partido de baloncesto, the basketball game. Now you think masculine, feminine, singular, plural, and you choose your option, right? So let me give you the key. For 2, it's option A. Voy a verlo. El partido de baloncesto. Masculine, singular, and in this case it's attached over here. It wouldn't be verte, because I don't want to see you, I want to see the game. Voy a vernos, I don't want to see us, I want to see the game, right? So lo reflects el partido de baloncesto. El artista quiere dibujar a Luisa con su mamá. The correct option would be quiere dibujarlas. Why? Because the artist wants to paint a Luisa, and her mother, both of whom are feminine, and they're 2, so they're plural. 4. Marcos busca la llave. La llave. B. La busca. It's not more than one key, and he's not looking for me, he's looking for it. La llave. And 5. Rita me lleva al aeropuerto y también lleva a Tomás. Who does she bring to the airport? Me and Tomás. Nos lleva. Okay, you can pause here again, and I will show you the key whenever you pick up with the video. Okay, you guys ready? Here are your options. Puedo oír a Gerardo y Miguel. I can hear them. Puedo oír los. Masculine plural. Quiere estudiar la gramática. La gramática, feminine, singular. Quieren estudiarla. ¿Practicas los verbos irregulares? Los verbos irregulares. ¿Los practicas? Ignacio ve la película. La película, feminine, singular. La ve. Sandra va a invitar a Mario a la excursión. También me va a invitar a mí. Both of these mean that Sandra will invite a Mario and myself. Nos va a invitar. I would like you to do the following exercises. There are a few more. You can find the key either on the VHL site or right below this PowerPoint. Okay, and I give you some guidelines. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.